Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about Arken Optics' new EP5 Gen 2. Now, if you're looking for technical specs and scientific things and data and everything related to this Gen 2, this is probably not the place for you. But if you're looking for a general comparison of Arken Optics EP5 Gen 2 to the Gen 1, you are in the right place. So I'm going to be pulling off this Gen 1 off of my 6.5 Creedmoor, this Badger Ordnance rifle that I have, and replacing it with the Gen 2. And what I'm going to do is kind of go through these optics side by side, let you guys see what I notice the differences are. Weight, feel, look, eye box. Does the magnification increase actually even work? Do you need it? It's going to be a general comparison, so tag along and check this out. Now, you know, these EP5 Gen 2s, these things have only been out for, gosh, the better part of a month. And I'm sitting in August 2024, in case you're watching this way out in the future. But these things have only been out for a month, but all kinds of content as people are excited for this thing to come out. This is the Gen 2. So before I get talking about this a whole bunch, I'm not going to spend a whole bunch of time trying not to break the Gen 2. I'm not going to spend a whole bunch of time talking about this Gen 1 either. If you need to, scroll back through my content. I have a slew of videos out there beating the snot on one of these, literally beating on the thing to the point of cutting one in half. So I'm not going to go through everything directly talking about this. What I'm going to do more is talk about the differences of the two. So what we're talking about here as far as differences is a max magnification of 25 on the Gen 1, and the big difference here is 35 on this Gen 2. And with that, what's going to happen is this thing is going to get heavier. If you look at these specs right here that Arken advertises and offers, you can see this Gen 2, this thing is hefty. I am outright and not going to recommend this thing as a hunting scope if you're going to be carrying that rifle around at all. If you're sitting in a shack, hey, this thing will work for you, but Arken's got quite a few better options for you. This thing is a tank, more so than the original tank. So we're talking 10 more magnification, all the accessories off of your Gen 1, your throw lever, your bubble level, and even your scope caps. All this stuff's going to fit over. Obviously, your sunshade, this thing right here, it's going to switch right over. If you've lost one, you got one from your Gen 1, you can spin that right up onto your Gen 2. So good stuff right there. Rings, those things are going to fit right over. We've got the same 34 millimeter tube. So it's a direct replacement if you're going to try to get a Gen 2 to pull your Gen 1 off. With the magnification increase, you're going to get some changes in the eye box, and that's what I'm going to talk about down here in my little Ruger Gun Dog HQ basement gun shop, as I call it right now. So yeah, I'm not looking through this thing, but what I'm going to be doing is taking this to the range, pulling this off, and you know what I'm going to do is pull these tops off of these rings right here. These are going to stay put basically where I have them. I'm going to try to mark this optic and set the Gen 2 in the exact same place. But what I'm going to do is take the tops off of these rings and try to get some shoot-through footage of me moving around and what I've got to do to keep myself in the primo eye box on this thing, meaning I'm getting the biggest, crisp, clear picture looking through the Gen 1. Pull this thing off. I'm going to set the Gen 2 right in the same spot. I'll move my head around a bit and also see if it is the same, if it's different. And then what we're going to do, a big question is the 10 magnification increase on this thing. Do I need that? Well, I really can't answer that for you. If you're shooting at 100 meters, 100 yards, and you're trying to really tighten up groups, a lot of guys don't need it. I've got some eyes that are starting to get a little bit down there. Maybe some environmental conditions, that 10 magnification, hey, it might help you out. But when you're stretching the rifle's legs, gosh, 25 power, guys are shooting these things a mile or more and hitting sub MOA on stuff like really far out there with a 25. Do you need that 35? Only you can answer that, but it can't hurt if it works. So that's what I'm going to try to do is see, does the 35 actually give you much benefit? And what I'm talking about is there's people that may complain with these optics that are not in the multi-$1,000 range that by spinning this guy up to 35, you're just going to be compromising or really pushing the limits of the glass. And it may so be the case, but we're going to find that out. So hey, with that, this is kind of your long intro. Let's get this thing out to the range. Let's get some shoot through. Let's talk about it a little bit out there and get going with this one. So let's move on to the range. Snap! I did forget to go through a couple things before we get this out to the range. This is probably going to save me a bunch of things in my comment section, so I want to go over this real quick. What is included in your Gen 2 box? Everything that your Gen 1 had, you get these little bikini scope covers. You get those. That's what I do with those. Your sunshade. Your little cleaning cloth. You get some Arken stickers. And you get the big Arken sticker. But you get this now. You are actually getting a pretty good product manual in this thing now. So you're getting a product manual in lieu of, what you're not getting now, is you're not getting one of these little rascals. And what this is the battery for your illumination. So the EP5 Gen 2, and I beg to venture out there that none of your Arken optics are coming with this battery anymore. A lot of times these were getting lost in the box and people are losing them anyway, but this is your CR2032 battery. So if you've ordered up an EP5 or any Arken optic, you might want to head down to your store and have your battery on hand when you get it. There goes the battery. Now to the gun range. So with this Gen 1, it's really not too hard to stay in the eye box. If I plant here, I can move out. And now I move back in. It's not real hard to stay in the eye box. And I'm at a magnification of 25, and I find it pretty easy keeping that full sight picture. Now I'm going to pull this Gen 1 off and set this Gen 2 as close as I can into the same position. Didn't end up putting any marks on it, but this gap right here is about the same. I'm going to spin this up to 25 and take a peek. There, I got everything pretty close to the same. I got my parallax set and a magnification of 25. Everything seems to be consistent. Back to the Gen 1. One more time with the Gen 2. So with that comparison out of the way, I'm going to get the Gen 2 all leveled up, mounted up on here, and then we'll look through this. I'll get some shoot-through footage with the 25 magnification as well as the 35, but let's get this thing leveled, mounted up, zeroed in. So alright guys, I've got the Gen 2 mounted all up and leveled up on the rifle here. Now the way I did this is I've leveled up the rifle with a barrel leveling system. I've got a string down, weights on it, a plumb bob down there. Looked through the Gen 2 and leveled up the reticle. Got everything all torqued down, 18 inch-pounds as directed. I also have the level on here, the bubble level accessory from Arken all set up. Well, all right, guys, there you have it. This is your quick and easy direct comparison of the EP5 Gen 1 to this Gen 2. Now, what I'm going to tell you is the magnification, the 35 is completely usable, And when turning this Gen 2 down to 25, you really wouldn't even notice the difference from a Gen 1. Eye box is the same, so moving around on here, I did not find the Gen 2 to have any differences when this thing is at 25 as well as the Gen 1. You wouldn't even know you're looking through a different optic. The glass at 35 is definitely usable, but it is pushing the limits of it. It will help you out as far as image clarity, as far as getting a little more detail in what you're doing down there. So it's definitely workable. 35 is usable if that's what you're looking for. Aside from that, as I've said, everything else is the same. I'm going to spend some time getting this thing zeroed in, and I don't expect any problems with that and with the tracking. So, hey, there's your quick and easy review of the Gen 1 EP5 to this Gen 2. Real quick, left the range, and I did not mention while making the content that I was not messing around filming and adding content with the turrets, as well as the diopter, the parallax on the side, or the illuminated reticle. Those features are all identical to the Gen 1 EP5, so I really didn't bore you or spend any time messing around with those. Again, the only difference that we've got is the glass changes with that additional 10 magnification. Everything else really is the same aside from the weight, even the dimensions of the optic. So, hey, thanks for checking back in. Let me know in the comments section, do you have an EP5 Gen 2? Do you like it? Is there something you don't like about it? Until then, get on out there and keep on shooting.